Good morning, everyone. We funded. Hooray! Everyone be happy. Okay, so I can get started. I can get to work on the book. And I'm going to start that process by reviewing the whole book plan that I already showed you, adding in a few things that people have suggested, rethinking some other things, and just kind of going through the whole thing to make sure all my ducks in a row are in a row before I really get started. So that's what I'll be doing first. I'll try and keep you regularly updated, probably not daily because I won't be working on it every day. I've still got some other stuff I've got to do, some other stuff I've got to finish, you know. But you've basically paid for me to be able to devote 2 months of reasonably hard work on this book, and so we'll make it count. It's probably going to end up about 50,000 words, which means it will end up about the same size as this collection of short stories I wrote, so you can get some kind of idea. What I use for size comparison. Okay, so that gives you some idea of what you'll likely be getting at the end. So I'll be aiming for about 50,000 words. Might end up being a bit more. We shall see. Would you like me to include some interviews? I was thinking, I've kind of gone back and forth on this. I think it would be a good idea to record some of the basic views of some of the more prominent people who were involved, like, say, Oliver Campbell or Christina Hoff Summers or Jim, even though he'd likely just troll me. He's kind of responsible for the whole thing, so it would be good to get his point of view. You know, the people who started Not Your Shield, all that kind of stuff. It would be, I think, useful to get their viewpoint, but not essential to the book. So I'm kind of going back and forth on that, so let me know what you think in the comments. But otherwise, for the moment, I'll just be proceeding basically on the plan that I presented, but I'm going to revise that somewhat and go back to it. I won't be updating you every day because other stuff going on, but I'll try and keep the updates more regular than I have on other projects, because I know a lot of people are really invested in this and will want to have their say, will want to point me at research and so on. So whether you backed or not, keep an eye on the Kickstarter, keep an eye on my social media, because I will be asking for people to help me out on the research portion. So there you go. The next stretch goal is $1,500, and that is to hopefully pay for some brand new, shiny, sexy cover art. There's lots of very talented, very good artists who have been associated with Gamergate, and it would be good to pay them for a completely brand, shiny, new cover, even though there's plenty of public domain Vivian artwork out there. I would really prefer to get something unique that stands out, yeah, that's sexy, that draws the eye to the book. I think that would be a useful, good thing to do. So that's the next point that we're aiming for. We're already at $1,272, if I remember correctly, at this point. So yeah, 1,500. Yeah, that's doable, definitely. I think especially now that people see that the project's definitely going ahead, they might be more willing to drop the buck or two into the bin to get it done. So yeah, that's good. The next goal after that would be at $2,000, and that would be for a full professional edit to be done on the book. Some more on that in just a second. And then anything over that 2,000 will be used to pay me more. Be upfront about that, because $500 a month isn't too useful. And 2, to help pay for. Well, I'd like to use some of the memes and cartoons that lots of people did in the print version of the book, at least. To record some of that, and some of it's fucking hilarious anyway. And I would like to be able to pay some of those cartoonists and people. I'm sure plenty of them would let me use their work for free, or in exchange for links or whatever else. So, some promotion. But I prefer to pay artists. So even if it's $10-20 a shot to use one of their cartoons, like the Gamergate one or whatever, I would like to be able to do that. So that's the other thing. Any extra money would be used towards. Pay me. Pay artists. Oh, I'm a writer. It's an artist, isn't it? It all counts. On the editing thing, okay, I've come in for a little bit of stick on that, for making some rather common typos in the pitch text. whatever, get a life. And some flack for my priorities, prioritizing the cover over the editing. Okay, you deserve an explanation on that, I suppose, or a justification, however you want to view it. I work in the tabletop gaming industry as an independent publisher, and margins are very, very small. Editing is way down the normal list. So you come up with ways and means of getting around that problem, that extra cost, and these can be reasonably effective. Now I'm going to be writing this book in a fairly informal, conversational style with, swear words and florid descriptions and whatever the fuck else. So a full professional edit doesn't have as much added value as some people might think it would. I want to produce an entertaining and affecting read as much as anything else. So again, a full formal edit isn't necessarily so good for that. So there are ways and means that small publishers have of getting around or providing a basic edit without having to shell out. These are good tips for other people who like to write too, so there you go. Use a text-to-speech program. Copy paste your document text into that text-to-speech program, and then sit and listen to it, and that will give you the cadence by the strict grammar that you've put in, by the punctuation and so on that you've put in. And that's a great way of picking up things that your eye glazes over, the kind of common mistakes that you make. If you just kind of sit back, listen, whenever you hear an edit, hear a problem, pause it, edit the text in your original document, press play again, carry on listening to the text-to-speech program. They're a bit jarring, they're a bit robotic, that they come on in leaps and bounds. There's some available for free, there's some you can get for a small payment, and that's worth it if you're forced into the situation of self-editing. The other thing that you can do is use a program like Grammarly, or there's some free similar programs available for OpenOffice and Linux and so on. And that will run you through your document and give you a very good edit, especially if you pay for the service. But it is robotic. It is an algorithm, so you do need to keep your wits about you and think whether the changes that they're suggesting you make are appropriate or right for the document that you're doing. So what I would suggest then is to finish your raw document, give it your own read through and edit first, then put it through something like Grammarly for a full-on check, make any changes there, and then put it through a text-to-speech software. Sit, listen to it. Is the cadence right? Do I need to change the punctuation? Is that sentence too long and breathless? Yeah, all those kind of things. So that's why I've placed the full professional edit further away, because I know ways to compensate for that. I don't think a full grammatical edit will necessarily bring a huge amount of added value, and if you don't grab people with the cover, no fucker's going to read it anyway. So that's why my priorities are as they are. Another issue that I have had is that even when I have paid out for a full professional edit, I still get comments about the grammar and everything else. I think this is down to the fact that I write in English, the books are edited in English, and then it's almost always Americans that are complaining about the grammar and phrasing and so on. So I think there's just enough differences between English and American English to annoy pedants. I think that's where the situation is at. There's enough differences between the two forms of English that some people get triggered. That's another aspect to this. And if you think Sony versus Xbox or PC versus Apple is vicious, you get into an online debate about the Oxford comma and see what happens. Anyway, time to get started. Zang.